Hello, Internet. My name's Eric, and I'm going to talk about organic food market. That being said, majority of organic foods don't have to worry about. Um, you're going to buy them from like your local supermarket or your local farmers market. That's not that big of an issue. Younger adults, especially soccer moms, they love to rush into the organic market as soon as they become parents. But just like everything else, soccer moms are really good at destroying everything. Now, another thing that soccer moms are really good at doing is putting crazy laws into place that stay in there for a while. Best example I can think of is a paper came out called the organic, well, not organic, it's called the GMO rat study. I won't cover it too much. YouTuber chemist by the name of Miles did a great job of this. I'm going to link to his video on mine, but that paper managed to get GMO crops banned in Italy. Now the TR too long didn't read on Miles' video is the graphs are made intentionally confusing. Um, I'm a huge nerd. You can tell by my headset, my glasses, my smile, and my hipster shirt of a local band. But they got these rats are intentionally made like bred to get cancer. They're meant for cancer study rats. So they let these rats get up to 70% plus by mass tumor. And now, as someone who works in hospitals, I can't think of a more painful existence than that. Um, those poor rats. They just did that to get pictures of. And the sample size was extremely poor. 16 rats, I believe, overall. So it's like 4 groups or 6 groups. Very, very small. Like, you don't prove anything with that. Um, and another thing that is with all their graphs, Miles points out greatly that the only thing the paper really does prove, and now don't go out and drink this. I do not suggest this. It proves if you're a male, and if you doesn't really prove, but if you're a male and you drink Roundup, you live slightly longer. If you're bred to get cancer, now I'm bred to get cancer. We all know that. But that being said, that's a crazy law that got enacted because soccer moms are so good at that. Now, another crazy thing about organics and the government is now everything you eat does have soy product. Like almost every, if you buy it from a market or if you buy it from like Walmart, it probably has some type of soybean product in it. And the European Union has a whole committee in order to get more organic soybean. I'm not making that up. Which is perfect for the soy boy meme when people are debating people who in the European like for Brexit. It's just hilarious. But anyways, the reason why I bring it up is that's how popular organics are for rich people who and soccer moms, which generally tend to be rich because they run around with their brand new car that's an SUV, and just drive terrible. Um, but having organic versus conventional farming soybean in your product is so processed down you don't have to worry about organics. Like, don't even worry about it. It's gonna be bad for you anyways. Um, Another point I want to bring up about organics is now there is a product called Golden Rice. Um, all it is a attempt to try to reduce vitamin A deficiency, which causes blindness. 65% of the older population in America will get some type of hospitalized population is hospitalized due to lack of nutrition. Um, but generally in America we don't have vitamin A problems. But when your diet consists mostly of rice and other products nearby, you can run into vitamin A deficiency pretty easy. And Golden Rice has tried to attack that. Now, an organization called Greenpeace went around telling these farmers. I don't know exactly what they told them. My guess is Golden Rice is an evil They either probably use like evil Westerner thing or evil religious thing, and basically rallied all these other farmers who didn't get the golden rice to attack all the farmers trying to grow golden rice. But as a healthcare worker who has to deal with all these people who have bad nutrition, and yeah, I'd like to say thank you, Greenpeace. The world really needed more blind people, and it's great that you caused more people to, well, less people to have prevention of nutritional sources that would cause them not to be hospitalized in places where they probably can't get hospitalized because there's no hospitals there. Thanks for that, Greenpeace. Now, another thing I want to bring up is conventional farming does not generally give more nutrition. Generally, golden rice is an example of food that does give more nutrition. You'll find that those big strawberries at Costco, those things just have more fiber and starch in them. Now, this is stuff that we already have for nutrition. We don't have to worry about that too much, but the general it will be just stuff to make it bigger so it sells easier. Another thing I hear is they specifically genetically modify to have the ability to be sprayed more. Now, that is true. There is one product I can think of. I forgot what they use, but they use a syphilis of something else that's a little more fibrous, and that was one that, just like I said with the strawberries, unintentional result, but they started using it anyways. But majority of the cases, because you don't want to spray more product, because product's more expensive. Like, you don't get money out of spraying, right? You lose money, but it's preventing pests from eating your crops. But generally they'll get stuff like BT corn that when you eat it, nothing happens. Now, when a Pacific pest eats it that's in that region, forgot what region it is, but I believe it's in the south, and a few other places in the world, this is a very specific bug that the majority of pests don't actually get affected by it, but when they eat it, it expands the stomach lining, causing the bugs to die. Kind of hard to live without a stomach. But when a human eats it, you don't have to worry about your stomach expanding. Like, you're not a very specific type of insect. You are a person. That also being said, one of the funny things about the organic market is they have all these crazy promises and benefits saying when you eat them. Like those nice little wrapped up project verified non-GMO stickers. Just like the non-fat or low-fat craze that we had in America, most of the products will have more sugar and salt added to them to make up for lack of texture, which is laughable when you look at 1% milk and whole milk, and yogurts. They basically just turned yogurts and milk into sugar products, just sugar snacks. I believe 1% has 16 grams per serving, and whole milk has 11, which is not that good. That's just as much as like a Coke almost. Actually, Coke is probably 33 grams. So, but when you drink milk, you probably drink a whole bowl of it along with your sugared cereal. So you're probably just getting as much as drinking Coke. But that being said, another point I'd like to make up is another lie I like to hear is like the organic foods have a better biobacterial life on them. Conventional farming doesn't really use too much cow shit for fertilizer, manure. But I like to say, go try buying a lettuce head and trying to scrub it all clean of that. You're not. That stuff that's gonna take way too long to make it worth it. Now you can go back. GMOs are just a tool. It's like saying the pen is terrible because it causes people to write hit pieces about your mom and put it on the internet. But the pen is just a tool. It doesn't cause the end product. A great example of this is early in the 90s. Bill Nye said how great GMOs were and how much of a right when GMOs came out, I believe it was a soybean was actually the first thing that was introduced as a genetically modified. They went out and said how great it was, untested it was, but it's just that soybean product has been tested for the last 20 years. Your smartphone hasn't been tested that long. Now, another thing I want to point out is a lot of people confuse genetically modified organisms for these what they do. I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but I forgot what it's exactly called. They grab a bunch of seeds and they just let it bathe in some type of pesticide. I believe it might be glyphosate. I could be wrong on that because glyphosate's more recent, I believe. But they let them sit in this pesticide, and the seeds will actually have they'll grow with the pesticide, which we don't use too much anymore. Some people still do, I believe, because you spray your thing less because the seeds have it. So it saves some people money, but they quit doing it because they saw that how do you get rid of that pesticide you put in it? Now, organics can actually do that too. There's nothing stating that you can't do that with organics. Now, organic pesticides, I think the top two are copper sulfate and hydrogen peroxide. So I want to see what would live with hydrogen peroxide and being bathed in hydrogen peroxide and copper sulfate. Yeah, trying to avoid. This is just great because parents are trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid getting their kids vaccinated. These soccer moms, because it contains heavy metal in it, which they believe causes autism. But they're literally going out in droves buying a product that has a heavy metal in it. Yeah, that's gonna save you it's gonna save your kids from autism when you buy copper sulfate tomatoes. But now another thing is that little seed project I was talking about earlier with the glyphosate in it. It may or may not have. Don't quote me on that one. But a lot of people attribute that to GMOs. That has nothing to do with GMOs. You don't purposely modify the DNA to do that. The DNA, for as all as I can tell, I'm not a biology chemist. I don't have the tools to see all the stuff that gets changed. But the DNA is not purposely changed. But one thing they also worry about with GMOs is it kills the bee population. Now, what kills the bee population the most is you get hundreds and hundreds of miles, or acres, probably in thousands in America, because let's be honest, look at Idaho, nothing but potatoes. There's nothing for the bees to eat. The bees can't utilize any of those plants or cash crops to get their pollen. With that being said, that's one of the more side reasons to find colony collapse disorder. But the bee population's in rise. Thank you, bee farmers. Not in decrease, but there are regions where they can't get any food, and that has nothing to do with GMOs. That just has to go with farmers not first saying their crops enough. Anyways, if you find anything wrong, or any type of point you want to debate me on, I'm doing this for a college project, but feel free to make a reply video, message me. I'm a healthcare worker, and I do find this very interesting. If you want to hear more, let me know. Take care.